Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Blight Review Board meeting for Wednesday, July 13 at 5:30. We are here in person, live and in person, all of us in room 206 of Town Hall. Let me first ask if everyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes of the prior meeting of June 8, 2022, and if someone would move their acceptance. Thank you, Mr. Lamode. A second. Thank you, Mr. Washeka. I get that? Yeah, I keep wondering. Any comments, corrections, changes, edits? Then calling the question. Those in favor of approval as written. Great. Thanks again to Mr. Eder. They're really nicely done, and I rely on them as we go into each meeting. So thank you for that. Okay, we are going to skip the third item on the agenda, which would have been an executive session. And we're going to go. Her? I'm sorry?
You want me to notify her?
No, she can hear that part, so she wouldn't be aware of that, but
okay.
We're not doing it, referring to Channel 79. So I think we can turn immediately to you, Mr. Solito, and see what you've got for us.
Very good. We'll start off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start by discussing the Freedom of Information issue that Mr. Cameron of Channel 79 quite properly raised with me, and we then raised with Town Council. And the question was the ability of Channel 79 to display the photos that you, Mr. Solito, take regularly of properties that may or may not be blighted. And we have always been a little discreet about showing those because we are not anxious to embarrass anybody or cause any trouble as that. However, Council has said that there is no exception under the Freedom of Information Act for such discretion, and that if the photos are displayed, then certainly Channel 79 should have the opportunity to do the same thing. Just Mr. Cameron and I spoke about that, I think yesterday, maybe the day before. In any event, going forward, we're going to see if Mr. Solito can have them on his computer ready to show on the monitors here. We will only be identifying them by file number, and I've asked Mr. Solito not to include any photos of street addresses, which would make them identifiable. And Mr. Cameron indicated he's satisfied with that. For today, we're going to give him a copy of the photos with the file numbers attached. Mr. Solito just needs to pull those together separate from the packet that we have. Okay? Yes, please.
And sorry, it's more just curiosity and sort of practice. So I was reading an article today about someone they mentioned sort of, you pass a bad check and the store owner would put the check up on the register to sort of shame the person. Why don't we do that?
It has been our tradition, and I have no particular incentive to shame anybody and I think, frankly, the folks that I have run across who are in this situation are either elderly or have very difficult situations, personal situations, whether they're mental health issues or family issues or the combination of that. So that's why.
Okay.
To me, anyway.
I would agree with that.
I agree 100% with that. There's just no reason to shame people.
Well, I mean, my focus would not be shaming people, but getting the blight removed.
Yeah.
So
That's our focus.
Yeah.
well,
Anyway.
sometimes it doesn't seem to be working all that well.
That's
Well,
true.
No.
when it doesn't, they get fined.
Yeah.
I think the goal was to be compassionate and not punitive, and like Mr. Riley said, many of these people have ongoing issues that are chronic.
Yeah.
To be sensitive to that.
And I understand the end goal is to get the situation remedied, and I think if anyone was that intently curious as to the location or identity of the properties, I think these reports are foible, and I don't think that they would be subject to redaction. So if there is a particular interest, there are avenues to obtain the more detailed information. I feel like I'm right between those 2 points of view, though. I absolutely understand. It's comment, and if I had a belief that it would remedy these properties more quickly, I would be more in favor of having these meetings identify the particular properties, but I'm not quite there yet, but not very far away.
Frankly, I don't know that it would necessarily do anything, but as I sort of, and you guys have been on this longer than I have, obviously, but when I just kind of see like no action, it's like, well, what else can we do? So, that is the frustration.
Okay, fair enough. And I will say there is nothing to prohibit you from mentioning a name or mentioning an address here. It's just been our tradition not to do it, and I would hope we don't. So, Mr. Salita, what have you got for us today?
Okay, we'll start off with, and forgive me, I realized I did not have a copy of the
Big sheet.
The big sheet.
Oh, yeah, the spreadsheet?
Yeah, it's been updated and everything, and I can forward that to each of you if you want it, but these are in the order that they appear on that big sheet anyway.
Okay.
So the first one is case number 16-001. This has been okay. This is the one that we do have a lien out. The fines have been shut off for them because they've been keeping the property up. It's been cleaned up and keeping the property up. So my question to you was, and here are some of the latest pictures. There are 3 photos of the property taken yesterday. Just as a question, do you care would you like me to still continue to report on this? I would be hesitant personally to close the case because the house still is vacant and unsold. And rather than restart, I wouldn't want to close it, but do you want me to still continue to report on this each week if there's been no changes?
So it's on watch status as of October of 21.
Right.
Have we filed the lien that for
Yes.
the accrued fines?
Yes.
And
So,
you said it's unsold, but it's vacant, so is someone trying to sell it? Like, is it for sale?
No, it's not for sale, no. It's just, it's in the family, it's owned in the family. And it's one of those where eventually, if they don't take care of the house is gonna start to fall into disrepair, where it will fall into a potential blight condition, one of the blight conditions.
But they have made improvements on the property.
They've cleaned up the junk that was in the yard is gone, and they've been maintaining the lawn. It's been mowed. The trees somewhat trimmed. That's what you could see in some of those. They haven't really done anything specific to the house, and that's kind of where my next.
Yeah, is that the driveway that's
Yes.
cracked?
Yeah, the driveway is not in good care.
I would ask how many more properties that we have on the list are similar to this one?
Really, potentially only one other.
Then I would recommend we keep on it.
Okay, I'll just keep reporting.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you agree to.
Yeah.
I have no problem. I was just, in terms of making the presentation or the case book shorter, but I have no problems with that.
Agreed.
And when you say that the lien is out, I mean, there's a lien in effect, and at such time that if they attempted to sell the property, they would have to discharge the lien, or else they wouldn't be able to transfer a clean title, correct?
Correct.
okay, next up.
Okay, we go on to case number 17-011. There's been no changes whatsoever to the property. In fact, because of some of the growth, the front lawn is just becoming longer and longer, and you can see that witnessed by the photos. with this. But at this point, there's nothing more we can do. There has been, it is accruing fines. There has been a lien put on the property. Effective, let's see. Well, it's been given a citation. So forgive me, I don't know whether or not.
Citation,
There has been a lien put on the property.
There has. When was that?
I think a while ago.
It was effective.
It was in the
a while
last
ago.
minutes. It said the last minutes is when it was proposed, so it may not have actually happened.
Um, Forgive me, I'm sorry. I'm
Violation or
disappointed in
something.
myself.
Citation signed.
Citation was provided, signed, actually.
Fines are to against it being accrued April 18th, 21 with 30 days, not issued
Yes.
by the owner.
Yeah, so fines did start, and he was issued a citation. We're at that point. I don't know whether or not we've gotten to the point, and it may not have, or an actual lien has been placed on the property as of yet. But it is accruing fines from a specific date. 4/18.
Can I just ask, like, from the minutes, so when it says the board asked the town council commence a lien,
They should be.
but does that mean, like,
Has that been done?
well, it was more like, we say it, we vote on it,
Right.
then what happens?
Mr.
You go tell the
Salido.
town council and say, this is in the
Yeah,
minutes, is
once-
that kind of the process?
Go to the attorney and tell them the board's voted to
Yeah, okay.
issue a citation for this, which has been done and served, so he knows liens, fines have started to accrue as to a certain date. The decision whether or not at some point to lien the properties based on the amount of fines that have
Okay.
accrued, and that's at your discretion, the board's discretion.
I would say this has been going on for 2 years.
Right, so we have asked,
To your point, nothing's happening.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's time to put liens on it.
well, according to the minutes, we've asked that happen. So, Mr. Salido, tell council that yet?
That you. that-
Want to lean on it?
Oh, if it isn't done, I will make sure that it is
Okay,
by
cool.
next.
I just want to go back for a second in the deference to Channel 79. I will indicate 17-011 is that. I don't know whether they can see it. I see the camera is moving.
No.
They can't. Huh?
17-011 is this one.
Oh, it is? Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm at 16-001. Sorry.
That's 16-011.
16-001. So one of these cameras can see that anyway. And this one is 17-011. So this is the one we were just discussing. So we'll do this better next time, but for today, maybe that is helpful to the public. Okay.
None of these people have appeared here.
For this particular
Yeah.
case, no. He had met a while ago with Ally and myself on the property, and
And with Bobby Bush at the very
And
beginning, in
at
like
the very beginning, yeah, the
2017
fire
or whenever it
marshal.
was, 18.
and he just
Before my time.
nice enough person, intelligent, but
Not
Doesn't wanna do
intelligent
anything.
enough.
no, but he just doesn't
The time has come.
care to do anything.
All right, okay.
And okay, moving on.
Yes, please.
Okay. Blight case 17-013. There's the owner or representative. I haven't heard anything back from him, no emails, and he has received the violation hearing notice scheduled for next meeting. September meeting, because there is no August meeting.
But this one, the
We've-
truck had moved, right? I mean, this.
The truck, the initial truck had moved, I went a couple of days later, and there was a different truck on the property.
This has gone on for, we've had him here,
Yeah.
he's been there, the family there's been all sorts of talk about, more than once he's been here, I think he's been here twice at least. And he brought someone with him the last time, And if I remember correctly, you know, we talked about a fence that they could put up, and they said that was too expensive. Well, I think a lien's gonna be expensive too, and
Yeah.
this has just gone on and on and on and on. And they gotta get this resolved, and I would suggest a lien at this point.
I agree.
The September session is a hearing to determine whether or not a blight condition exists. And he has been given the opportunity to attend that meeting and to debate whether or not it does exist. So at that meeting, we can make that
Okay, all right.
determination and proceed.
All right, agreed.
We-
Because
we
it's been there
started-
too long. It's
Yep.
just, you know.
But again, we really need to point out that while the truck is sitting there, nothing else is happening. That
You're right.
property becomes more and more hazardous, and again, just given the location of it and the heavy traffic.
And the kids going by and the steps are apparently dangerous, and we've had so many discussions on this thing that I'm so sick of this discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm having people in my neighborhood who are nowhere near it saying, what's happening there?
All right, yeah.
I found it just,
Yeah.
on an offer mark, very interesting that they put a new sidewalk in front, and the curb cut is like a commercial size curb cut,
Right.
maybe like 25 feet
Uh-huh.
wide for the driveway.
Interesting, as opposed to
I'm
a,
like, do they know something? we don't
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, maybe the property
You look-
is finally
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
sold to the plumbers
It was
or
just
whatever.
interesting to see the brand new.
That is interesting, yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay, moving on.
Yep.
Case 17-019. This is, the property's kind of standstill, it's still not as bad as it was, but the two vehicles are still there, as so pictured.
right. Oh, yeah, a deer,
Along with the
yes.
deer. That was quite a surprise. I pulled in, and the deer wasn't moving, he was just
Really?
standing there looking at me.
Uh-huh.
I walk right up to them. I literally have been from as close to them as you,
Mhm.
take a picture of them, and they just look at
Yeah.
me. They don't bother.
Yeah, the old story of frozen in the headlights is no longer the
Does,
case.
does the fact that two of the cars don't have plates mean that they're unregistered? Is that?
Yes.
There's a way too, also, even the car with plates, to go online to DMV, just to get the status of a plate. Doesn't tell me who owns it or whatever, but it does say whether it's registered or registration expired.
But like this means either they have their plate in the kitchen or
Yes,
they
correct.
can't drive the car because it's
Right.
unregistered.
It's,
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that that's both. It's not permanently registered and it's inoperable.
And the property
This is
owner,
the one that I started to ask you about. Am I correct? That
Yes,
you
that-
gave her 2 dumpsters, I think more than 1 dumpster, 2 dumpsters. She cleaned up the yard to a certain extent. The cars are still sitting there that don't belong to her. She says she can't do anything about that. Is correct? It's an elderly woman and
Not elderly.
Not elderly.
not
no.
elderly.
But if
Oh,
the
then
car-
give her hell then.
If the cars don't belong to her, then they would be like, what, abandoned?
Well,
Then
they
they would,
belonged to her, there was something about a title,
Title.
right?
Title
What
is
she
the
gave to
issue.
us, was it last summer? I
she
forget.
said she needs to get the title, needs to convince the state by an affidavit of loss or something or other that she can't find the title, and then she's ready to donate them to Cars for Kids or something or other.
Well, but again,
But
that
they
goes,
need titles.
that goes back to September of last year, and
Yeah.
again, why can't we take some action to get them
Yep.
out of there?
Yep, we can.
No, I've been in contact with the police and the police don't want to get involved.
I've heard that, yeah.
The property, the vehicle that is in front of the house, if you were to do a survey, will show that the vehicle is not on her property, it's on the street.
Okay.
Technically, it's on town property.
That's the reason the police don't want to get involved?
Well, the police said it's not blocking anything, so we're not going to get involved. That was the reason I had for that.
Okay, so the car is a non-issue as it relates to, if it's not on her property and it's on public property, the car is out of the issue.
So this is the subject of car.
Yes.
So we need to convince the town to remove it, I guess. It's the town's road. Right?
Yeah.
If it's not blocking anything, you know, where do we have the right to do that?
And it's on the watch list, right? So does it even meet the blight status or is it just the cars?
No, it's on watch list basically because once the cars are technically gone, then yes, there would be only, no, actually, there is only the one violation. And are the vehicles right now. We're kind of holding it in case potentially the conditions there often fluxed. We're in flux where they would improve and then they would get messy again. But we were only down to the vehicles as being an issue.
What's your,
Well, there clearly is debris there too, it seems to me.
is there still debris there?
Yeah. oh,
The
yeah,
laundry
I think
basket,
so.
you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be that and other things around there, so.
Well,
If I were a neighbor, I would not be pleased.
well, I know neighbors of it, and they say, well, it's better. Okay,
Yeah.
that's, of course it's better, we're giving her 2 dumpsters, you know? But they're not happy, the neighbors
Yeah.
are not happy with that.
And we would not want to see the backyard, I don't believe. A lot of things went there.
Well, you can't even see the
Yeah,
backyard.
that's right.
Can you just get rid of a car? Like, I don't know. I mean, I've only sold cars, but.
I think that's out of our purview, isn't it?
No, but could we help her get rid of the car? Like, are you just I mean, I get cars for kids, but what about just the junk man? Pay $200 to
It's
haul
not
it
your,
away? Like,
you can't move somebody else's property.
if she wants it
Right.
gone, I guess what I'm saying, can we facilitate that for
I
her?
thought she was selling them, actually. I don't think she was donating them.
Oh,
Again, I think the answer is probably yes, but I don't think it falls under our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And she believes that the black car in the picture is worth more money than what she would be able to get for it from,
Oh, really?
yeah, she
Donation?
thinks,
Oh.
well, it's of her opinion, that the paint job on the front is worth thousands of dollars to somebody who might want that. So, I don't know if that's her lone reason, but that, she seemed pretty adamant about that when I spoke to her about the car anyway.
Well, why doesn't she get to
You haven't seen
the
this
Department of Motor
dumpster.
Vehicles, get her title cleared up and donate it or give it away?
Or sell it, yeah.
Yes.
Isn't there, so is it the police is the towing authority like in the town? I mean, if it's been parked illegally for months, I mean, obviously it'll be, seasons will change, I know you can't leave during snow season, you can't leave a car parked
Right.
in the street.
We've got a couple of, actually, this is since 21, September 21, so we've
But-
had 2 snow seasons.
It would seem if somebody parked a car in the middle of Cherry Lawn Park and it wasn't blocking anything, the town would tow it away
Right.
if it was on town property. So if this is town property, I'm not sure why the town.
Has anyone checked the trunk of the car?
Having walked through this with another case, it might fall, and from a legal standpoint, you might have to prove that it's not. I think one of the reasons why I left it as in Blight was we'd have to prove that it's not on her property in order to prove that it's on town
On
property.
town property. So
But we
need
still
a-
can pursue her in trash that's in the front
We need a
yard.
surveyor.
Yes, yeah.
Now, the issue is just how bad is it? And, you know, have we reached a point, in 2 years, let's see, 1 year, it's actually 1 year.
Started in 2017.
To start to, put liens on it.
17 is when we first noticed.
But this
it.
is a woman, a very elderly woman, isn't it?
No.
It's not, yeah, you just said that, yes.
But she
So
has,
what-
I mean,
but
older
could-
than she is.
Yeah.
Could I, like-
I got this vision of an old woman.
she has
I mean,
a
this-
problematic household.
Yes.
But is this, I mean, I guess, I realize as a board, maybe we can't do it, but like, to download the form for I don't know what is involved with the DMV title, but like,
Well, we
I'll
don't-
download the form
We don't
and.
have any facts to fill out an affidavit of loss, which I think is what she needs to
I
do.
mean, if I write her another letter, I'd be happy easily to download the form. It's free information off the
Yeah.
internet to get a replacement title and send that in along. with-
Because it'd be great for her if she can get this car sold. I mean, now's a great time to move these cars compared to
Would
2
we-
years ago.
Would we like to invite her into our September meeting?
Sure,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's truly, I mean, am I wrong? It's if it has nothing to do with the blighted property, it's not under our purview.
It
it's
it
not
is,
under-
it does have something to do with
But
an
if it does have
unregistered-
something to do with the blighting condition, then we can invite her in tell her we're gonna have to put a lien on the property, maybe put it to her that way if she doesn't get it resolved, one way or another.
This again would
If
be a
she needs
hearing.
help, we can help her, you know, put her in the right agencies, or DMV, whatever it is, but at least give her an opportunity to come in and to say something.
Right, well, I know if Ally has thought of any agencies to help her, I'm sure
I've
that's,
helped her over the years. I mean, I'm happy to reach out
But
to her.
you've helped her with the cleanup, with the dumpsters and things like that. But this car business, it's a real bugaboo, I don't know.
so we would be calling her in for a hearing for us to determine whether a blight condition exists, which would be the unregistered vehicles and the debris at least around the house, right?
So I'll send a violation/hearing notice
Yeah.
to her for the October meeting.
We could do it in September, we'd have,
September.
there'd be two of them in September, that's all right.
And could we just, I mean, like, I was looking on my phone for the form, but like, could we give her the forms? I mean, just point her in the, I mean, it's just an.
If Mr. Solito wants to do that, sure.
Yes.
why not? Okay. That was 18002?
That was correct.
No.
No,
No,
17,
no,
oh,
we
sorry.
take
Oh, I was moving ahead too fast.
We're up
Okay.
to,
Okay.
Now we're on 18002, okay.
Yeah. This has only gone on since 2018, so
Oh, this is relatively fresh.
it's
okay.
relatively new.
No.
18002. This one is finally, no, I shouldn't say finally, there's been no changes in the property. However, we were waiting to hear back from the town attorney with regards to title search
Oh, yeah.
to make sure proper ownership has been determined, and
So the-
it was from the May meeting, or from June meeting, they did file the lien. The citation went forward to them in February, and they did the title search just to make sure before they filed any kind of lien that it was going to the right place, which it was. So they did file a lien with the town clerk June 14th.
Good.
Last inspection shows no changes.
No change, okay. All right.
But we're on,
Nothing more to do with that.
So the title search has been confirmed and the lien has been issued.
yes.
Okay.
And served on the, whoever the current owner is, and you haven't heard anything from that person?
Correct. Correct, I have not. Okay, Blight case 18-004, I just wanted to add this in there with additional, with recent photos. It seems as if the, searching, there is no valid building permit for work being done there currently, but it's continuing. Took a picture of the garage, which has now been raised and put on a new foundation. But conditions are still blighted on the property, as you can see from the photos. So I just wanted to report back that everything is still valid and liens are still being.
I'm sorry, and this one, the stop work order was issued, but so they're not doing any work, that you could tell.
They're not supposed to be doing any work. Again, I couldn't find a no valid building permit yet for the property.
Okay.
Okay?
That one
And
has been
liens are
accruing
affected?
Yes,
fines
Yeah.
for,
there's been I think a couple of liens.
This isn't the one with the bank situation, is it?
No.
No,
No.
okay, right.
this was probably the original cause of the ordinance and has been,
Mm-hmm, correct.
I think,
Yes.
updated the lien a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So what's our next step? Because again, when you look at this, there's no improvement goes back months and months and months.
Yeah, the next step, I think, is a remote prospect of foreclosure. Have to foreclose and then.
And when you say like remote, because that's a town decision?
Yes, yes.
Basically, if
And
there's
I'm
an
not-
unpaid debt, like for the fines.
Yep, yep. And I'm not sure, I don't really know what the equity is in the building, but I'm not sure our fines have accrued to a big enough number to, would a judge really proceed with a foreclosure based on what those numbers are? I don't know, but that's a selectman issue, I think.
500.
Can we
500
move it to the selectmen then and make
$100 a day.
100, 600, 700.
700.
Well, what's the, like, we can start, what's the
Yeah, I
fine?
don't know that I want to, but I don't know if we want to pick that fight right now.
I mean, you could,
Could we start with, like, on that one, like, what is the fine? I mean, it's $100 a day, so how long has it been accruing? Do we-
Yeah,
Approximately? Let's see, where is it?
It is close to, close to 100,000, that's between 90 and 100,000
Okay,
now.
that's
yeah,
pretty sizable.
yeah, oh, it is. You have to leave, just so they don't know. Oh, that's 6 o'clock,
o'clock.
okay.
That's 6 o'clock.
Where's Putin today?
All right, so
Okay.
unless there's any other urgency about moving that one forward, I suggest we just let it lie for now.
Yeah.
I think we got enough going on.
In order to bring foreclosure, what's our role?
I don't know that we have a role, only other than prompting the selectmen. It would be done in the name of the town.
So
Could I-
it would be the selectmen.
Yeah, well, the town.
Could I ask that for the next meeting, like, could we kind of have a better sense of, like, well, like, what would we be doing? Because, I mean, I realize you're being asked the question, and I kind of have the same question, and you're answering it as best you can, but that said, like, I
We
don't
have
know,
a
this maybe have
selectman
not
here.
come
Yeah.
up here before. Well, I just thought, like, it
You want to know the foreclosure process?
yeah, I mean, I'm a little curious to it, but I don't know that it's really fair at this meeting to just be putting folks on the
Okay.
spot with that, but.
Okay. Well, we can ask counsel, Wayne's colleague, I think, could, Bobby, could maybe attend the next meeting and fill us in on that.
Can you, Mike, can you check with the selectmen? Have they done this before, if they had this?
I'm not
situation?
aware of the town initiating a foreclosure proceeding on a property based on a fine. I mean, my historical knowledge of the town isn't that deep, but it's ultimately, I mean, it's a remedy. It's a remedy, and the board could make a determination to bring an action at any time if they so choose. I mean, I report the proceedings at our selectmen meeting, and without, detail.
Yeah.
I can't say there's an appetite to do that on the board, but that isn't to say that there couldn't be if some of these fines continue to accrue to a very, significant number. But it wouldn't be inappropriate at all to at least report, and I will, that that the committee or this board is curious as to what other remedies the town might be willing to
Please do that.
employ.
Okay.
Now, this is again, I'm not interested in picking a fight with anyone, but this is obviously just a blatant avoiding us.
Oh, yeah.
And ignoring our condition,
Yeah.
and, as $100,000 would be very significant to me, it might not be significant to others, but again,
I agree.
No, I
And this-
didn't mean it's not a significant amount. I only wonder if it's significant enough, given the equity in the property, that I think that's something that the court weighs, but,
That's something we have to weigh.
and we should weigh also.
As well as like whether, with some of these cases, like you say, there are folks that have issues and others that are
Yes.
making an effort, and
Yeah.
there are others that ignore.
yeah,
Completely
exactly.
ignore.
And you should understand, like, the foreclosure process is one where when you get foreclosure, and then the town would have title and responsibility for that property, and then presumably the people who used to own it, if they were living in the property, they would still be there. And then the town would have to
Interesting. Okay.
initiate some sort of
Eviction.
almost eviction proceeding. So it's not what you would call a pristine, process, which isn't to say it might not be necessary and proper at some point and in
be
some
worse.
circumstances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and unfortunately, there's an appellate procedure too, and we could be talking several years and lots of legal fees, which I think maybe he could be the owner, could be responsible for, but anyway, I would point out, Mr. Burke, if you have that session with selectmen, you could do that in executive session as prospective litigation.
Yep. And this is, we're talking about 1804, 004.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they asked Attorney Bernie to attend the next meeting, or?
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, sure.
Moving on,
Okay,
case 18-005. This was one that we were scheduled to go into executive session about.
yeah. Today,
I'm so sorry. To see the same house come up.
And it's just looking worse and worse now. The summer growth has caught up, just bringing everything back up.
yeah.
Yeah, but the man, whoever it was you spoke
Yeah.
with, I shouldn't say man, the person you spoke with said he was waiting for this winter season to finish.
Oh, yeah, there's gonna be a spring
finished.
cleanup.
It's finished.
Yeah. So where does that stand? Oh, well, so,
The owner did not appear.
he did not
for the
appear.
hearing
If we
today.
find it's a blighted condition, we can begin to impose fines.
Yeah, February of 20, we started this whole process.
So we can issue the notice of determination.
So why don't we start with a motion to find that there is a blighted condition on this property, and then we can discuss it. Mr.
So move.
Burke moves, do we have a second?
Yes.
Mr. Lamont seconded. Now, for discussion purposes, Mr. Solito, would you be specific about what you consider the blighted conditions of this property?
Yes, this is specifically for the second set of notices that went out. The first set has already been determined to be blight. It did run short with, and it was to the board of whether or not you wanted to issue a citation. So I don't believe that he has been issued a citation for any of the fines as of yet. But this notice of determination is specific for the second set of notices, which have to do with the
Backyard.
backyard,
Cars.
the boats, the trailer, the vehicle, and plus now the condition of the house.
Overgrown.
The facade of the house is falling down and rotting.
Just to
And
be
the
careful,
front
you
stair.
say now, was that something we gave him notice of as well?
Yes.
The overgrowth? I mean,
Can it be?
No, I mean, well,
We've already given
we're
him
here to
notice.
determine whether there's a blighted condition based on what we have told him in the past, so.
That one had already been approved as being a blighted condition.
Okay.
And so with that, it would be up to the board whether to move forward with issuing a citation for that first set of notices.
Okay,
Because that one's already been determination, or if you care to, you can wait until this notice of determination gets issued and sent to the person, and then they have 30 days, is that
Right.
correct, from the date of this notice?
from the date of the
Correct.
notice, right, to cure it. Mhm.
Right, and then after that, if nothing happens, citation could be extended for all of the, but
Sorry.
that would be a,
Why would
The
we
notes say
issue a
here,
citation for the back?
citation was signed May 22nd.
the,
Citation was signed by Blight Prevention Officer and returned Town Attorney 5/22.
Right.
And that's
right, that was for the,
the first set,
hold on, go further. I'm sorry, just give me a moment to
Sure.
review this, thank you. I know that there was a board delay, not a board delay, but he did come and say that he was going to be doing work, and so things were put on hold. Hang on a second, it has not been claimed. Oh, right, okay, in May, it was requested to prepare the citation, I'm sorry, that was prepared from May on the first set of violations.
Okay.
So that that citation for the first set of violations was served on the owner on May 24th.
Okay.
So
we
this
have-
is now, that's taken as far as it could go because it is in citation now.
So
it is
fines are
accruing
being
fines.
accruing?
Yes.
Are accruing now.
So this would be action for that second set of violations, which
Okay.
include the.
Which is today.
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the actual notice we sent to him
Of the,
for today's meeting?
I do, but I do not, oh, no, I don't have it here, but I
Okay.
do have one.
I'm just wondering what it is we told him we were considering in terms of the blight condition.
Yes, it was that,
The-
yes, it was those
The vehicles?
specific. Yes, it was those specific. The trailer, boats, car, and condition of the front of the house.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That was for those.
Okay.
He did email back, he's told me that the trailer is registered. He said that the boats are not abandoned.
Okay.
That was those who, and I'm going to fix the facade of the house. That was what he said. I did email him back, I believe that, please, send me a copy of your registration for the trailer. Condition of the boats do not look like they're in use and they're underneath. We did have, and there had been no response back.
I mean, it doesn't look like he's done anything, or it doesn't
No.
look like he's
No,
fixed
I
the front of the house.
drove by the house yesterday and you can barely see the house anymore. But you have actually seen those vehicles. We don't have a picture of the vehicles, I don't think.
There is a picture of the top of the vehicle, not in this packet, but,
Earlier package.
yes.
Yeah, you could
In
just,
the
you
winter, I
could, you
think.
couldn't
was
see
in the
it.
winter, It had
Snow.
just snowed, and so the vehicle stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think once it melted and stuff grew on top of it again.
Right.
Okay, so there's a motion pending to find that there is a blighted condition based upon those vehicles and the overgrowth in front. Any further discussion on that topic? Well, then let me call the question. Those who believe there is that blighted condition, please raise your hand. Okay, that appears to be unanimous. Thank you. So part two is, well, we're going to send him a notice of that, and that fines will begin if he hasn't cured after 30 days. Is that right?
Yeah, notice of determined, yes.
All right, now,
So he'll have two fines now
yes,
against him. Is that correct?
That's an interesting interpretation, whether or not, if two notices are down, whether or not he's liable for two sets of,
yeah,
I ventured in
Yeah.
some experience that they wouldn't.
they wouldn't apply
I
both.
think a judge would say,
I would think so.
yeah, I know that for some codes, you're issued a certain amount of violations per violation per day. The blight code doesn't offer that, it's just, as long as it's on the blighted list, it's $100 a day.
Well, I think in that case, it's all the more reason to go ahead with it, just so it becomes a part of the whole
Something, yeah.
process.
I agree, that way if he might fix one thing, this other one is still, it covers everything
Right.
on the property
Right.
that needs to be done.
I would
Yeah.
point out that the ordinance does provide that we should consider whether the property owners are elderly or have low income. In particular, I have no idea about his financial circumstances, but I think we can say that he's 70 plus anyway, which I think constitutes elderly. So in light of that, we could say certainly that we're not going to impose any further fines on him at this point. Okay, so we don't need to take further action then, or.
Now, this was one where he says he's living there, but there's no evidence that he is living there.
Right. Right.
So for clarity in the notes,
We have found a determination has been made that there is blight condition.
Right.
An additional blight condition finding has been made, but we are not imposing any further fines in light of
Please vote on
the earlier fines imposed and the fact that he is an
the
elderly.
notice of determination.
I think
Are
we
we
didn't
also-
actually vote.
are we also going to
Robert's
call them
right,
in?
we didn't actually vote on that.
The second part?
Did you vote on the notice of determination?
I thought we,
Yeah, we
yeah,
did.
we did.
It's
Okay,
unanimous.
Yeah, it was unanimous.
that's all right.
Yes,
I'm here.
So,
I didn't remember.
the owner failed to show today,
yes.
so
He had the opportunity to appear, but failing to appear doesn't stop us from proceeding. All right? That's what we call due process. Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on, case number 21-001. No changes with this particular one. Everything is done, citation signed, and citation was signed, and it was received. I don't believe that there's a lien yet on. But it's accruing fines as of a particular date, so.
No, this one.
but at our last meeting, we recommended that the attorney prepare and serve a lien on the property.
February of 22nd, citation
Prepared
signed and BPO and returned. February 20th, is that what you're looking at? February 14th, I mean.
Yes, that was the citation. So and it was received. That's where we are with that. So it is definitely accruing fines as of.
So the lien has been served.
Yes.
No, the
No.
fines.
No. The citation's been served, letting them know that it's accruing fines as of a particular date.
Was it 30 days?
But again,
December 10th, 2021.
going back to our meeting notes, on 21-001 last month, it said, "No further cleanup has been made. An owner has not responded. Fines have been accumulating since December 14, 2021. Board recommended that the town attorney prepare and serve a lien on the property. I proposed, Mr. Lamote seconded, and the motion carried unanimously." So the question is,
Has the lien-
has a lien been served on the property?
So maybe that would be something to just clarify on all these cases where
Yes.
there was a lien that was supposed to be filed, wasn't filed.
that should appear on the spreadsheet that Attorney Bernie updates as well.
Yes.
So you can check that, and if it doesn't reflect it there, then we should
I
check
will
with
make sure
Attorney
that it
Bernie.
does. If you would like, I don't know if it matters, and I could CC Channel 79 with the answers to these questions. So that-
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I'm not
I think
sure.
it should be discussed at the next meeting. I think the answers to the questions should be at the next.
Yeah,
meeting.
that's a good answer, yeah. Nothing really Channel 79 would do.
Okay.
until then.
Okay. I apologize for that. I should have had that ready. Okay, finally, again, there's not going to be any action needed for this, but there was a new complaint that was received, investigated. Blight warning letter went out for this case 22-001. However, once it went out, and through notification, Ally let me know that they are elderly and clients of Ally's department.
Human resources,
No
human
comment on that,
services.
but they're elderly and we had contact with them.
Yes, contacted, and I've been in contact with Homes for Heroes?
Homes for Heroes, so
Homes
it's a
for
very
Heroes.
elderly couple.
Yes.
Cynthia Hall, the assistant director, spoke to him. He's a veteran, and he reached out to Homes for Heroes, and they're coming, I think it was August 27th. They're going to clean it all up,
Yes.
take the
Yeah.
cars, take
Great.
everything. And we said, if that doesn't happen, we're here to help you, and so they're.
Okay, good.
Hopefully it just is smooth
Yeah.
sailing.
So there's more information for you in case any of you get an inquiry about this particular property. that.
Do we have a photo of that?
Yes.
So do we close this, or do you not close it until it's actually?
I would not, since it's already open, I wouldn't close it until we get, I'm sure that it will get done, but I will keep it open until,
Yeah.
because there was an actual complaint registered on the property, it's best that it be.
Any idea of the timing of when?
August 27th.
Yeah,
Oh,
end of
good.
August, yeah.
End of August. Okay. That's
Reasonable.
reasonable. That's reasonable.
He's a veteran, so that's what's.
All right.
That.
He's earned it.
He has earned it.
That elderly, I've been in WW2 or Korea, anyway, okay. Anything else? Mr. Burke, yeah, please.
You know, just briefly, and not for business today, I'm not going to propose that we discuss it, but for future meeting to begin discussions about considering to ask the Board of Selectmen, to ask the RTM to amend the Blight statute or augment it to include commercial properties. I've been hearing complaints about a number of properties, and I think it's something that we ought to talk about as a group and consider whether we'd like to ask the Board of Selectmen to consider further.
Fair enough, okay. Just to state the obvious fact perhaps, or maybe not so obvious, but the current blight ordinance does exclude commercial properties from our jurisdiction. We are strictly residential at this point. Okay, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Westchecker, for moving to adjourn, and thank you, Mr. Etter. Mr. Etter beat you to it, and you all voted unanimously. I saw that. Thank you. We are adjourned.